Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Today we'll be discussing the continuation of Cloud9's domination with their 2-0 wins over Envy and Echofox. We'll also be discussing their exciting upcoming matches against Team Liquid and Flyquest. I'm your host, Havokpus, as always, and today I am joined by...
Frozencreek. I'm not sick, so if we lose this week, that's why.
Put it all on you, Frozen.
Trey, also known as Raikoul.
And I'm Ian. I wasn't here last week, but I'm here now, so hooray.
Hooray.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Pie Magic Man and his illustrious Atlanta Falcons for blowing
The 25-point lead.
The 28
an incredible lead in the Super Bowl. They were like 2 running plays and a field goal away from winning, and instead they decided to try and style on the Patriots and lost. We got Havokpus's a meltdown when Alabama led until the last second of the game, but unfortunately, Pie Magic Man's not here to run us through his death week. So, just a quick shout out to him and his suicidal tendencies this past
Pray
week.
for Pie.
Now who's the one losing football, huh, Pie?
Hashtag pray for Pie.
Hashtag pray for Pie.
Yeah, he give you so much shit for that. When Alabama lost.
Oh,
So.
Jalen Hurts is still dead to me. I will
It's
never recognize his authority as a quarterback.
Hey, it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
That's very true.
I watch the Lions every week, so.
Very true. Well, let's kick off the show with our fantasy update. So far it's been pretty exciting. Rosen and Trey, you guys are still undefeated. How do you do it?
As expected.
Pick high.
Okay.
Don't suck.
Pick high, top die.
Don't suck.
That's both very good points.
Dude, my strat has been draft my roster and then not touch it ever since then, and it's actually worked out pretty fucking well.
I've made some small adjustments, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
I've been trying to play the field with Europe. It's been hit or miss so far.
Europe is so tight, like hard to manage because they only play one game.
Well, the thing is, they play
match.
half the teams play 2 games, and half the teams play 1 game. So it's just super hard to like analyze. Are they gonna play against a bad team, and how many points do you think they'll get against this team in this series? Especially when you're like, well, you haven't seen them play enough. Because you've only seen them play so many games.
Dude, any kind of anything is better than what happened in my my other fantasy league though. One of the guys beat the guy he was up against by 1/10 of a point.
Oh wow, that's super close. Frozen beat me last week by 4 points.
Damn.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, feels bad. So what picks do you think are pickups and drops? Definitely, I think Fnatic. You can probably drop those guys. They haven't been playing all that well. They actually benched Amazing because he has been sucking it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I think Baby Cap's Baby Faker is still in a decent enough spot to pick him, but on weeks where he's only playing 1 game, just put him on your bench. Don't try and put that together because that's not going to work.
I'm not even sure if he's worth a hold. I think he's someone that you can just drop and pick up a new flex player each week if you have that luxury. If not, then I guess you can hold him to start as a mid if you have someone like, I can't even think of anyone off the top of my head, but he's probably better than the bottom 3 or 4 mid laners at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you can, maybe go try to get higher tier picks, but like Perks, maybe someone from like H2K or Unicorns or Splice. Those teams seem to be fairly consistent so far, so maybe get them.
Yeah, and G2 plays 2 games this week, so
one is against Origin.
A good flex pick, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Splice is the other team.
Splice has been doing amazing.
Yeah, Wonder got me like 100 points.
I single-handedly lost another match last week solely because he had 3 Splice players and they got him like 300 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the bot lane and Kabi had a really good week last week.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think also maybe drop Immortals players. They've just been looking really bad. Dignitas probably too. Pretty much
Cody,
anyone in it. NA
I'd
that's
hold
at the
on
bottom of the
Dig.
barrel.
Dude, drop the fuck out of
I'd
Immortals.
hold on Dig.
Cody
They're
Sun,
so bad.
Cody Run,
Cody
Cody
Dunn.
Stunned, Cody Dunn.
Fucking Immortals, Envy, and Liquid all just look god awful right now. It's so sad.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to pick it up, but one of them has to make it to playoffs, so.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
statistically, one of those teams will have to make its playoffs.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
disappointing.
so we're kind of on this topic here. So is Cloud9 this split that good, or is all of NA pretty bad? Because after this week, we have played almost every team so far.
That's a
Well,
good question.
TSM looked decent. P1 looked really good. FlyQuest has looked amazing, but we haven't played them yet. But they clearly have big weaknesses that can be exploited. And in the C9 versus CLG series from last week, we noticed some of our things that were exploited and we fixed them. Especially in the Fox games this week. So I really think that C9 is both that good and some of the lower teams aren't that great. But I think the top 5 teams are all competitive, and I think they would be competitive minus Korea in the world.
Yeah, this season or this split, I guess, it's really looked like the bad teams are really bad, and the good teams actually look pretty good. And then there's Cloud9, who's a step above everyone else, not like leagues and bounds, but just like one step above everyone else. With FlyQuest being a possible contender for being on the same level, I think we'll be able to determine that once they play each other. Who's if FlyQuest is in the same league as C9, but yeah, I think that C9, they do look very strong, and considering that they have a new jungler that they haven't played a ton with, I think that they'll only continue to start looking better and better. And they, as of now, already look really good. So I think that in the coming weeks, we'll see them really emerge as a team that is strong at all points in the game, because their early game has been a little weak so far, but that's started to look tighter and tighter as time has went on. And their macro game, late and mid game, once the lane phase is over, has looked strong the entire time. So I think that they already look pretty good, but we're going to see them really start to elevate their level of play. Probably in 2 to 3 weeks is when you'll start seeing them really look like a truly top tier team on the world scale, not just NA.
We've been pretty good in the mid game so far. We were first in the first 3 tower percentage of our games, getting the first 3 towers, but it looks like a TSM passes this past week. But so Cloud9 obviously has looked a step above everybody else's split, but how would they compare to TSM last split, who was a juggernaut?
Well, TSM last split had a couple of things that I think C9 would have had an advantage over, at least this version of C9. It's clear that it seems like Contracts is doing really well, and even in the games that Contracts doesn't do well in, he's still contributing. Which, I don't know what you could say against Contracts now versus Svenskeren then, because you can't really compare the two. But Impact has looked amazing. Jinsen is outperforming every mid laner. Most of the time. Sneaky and Smoothie are very consistent. And our team has been able to push objectives very well.
Or yeah, the one thing about a TSM last split was if they lost something, they were always a split second away from picking up something else across the map, and I'm not quite sure where they're macro wise yet, but I think by the end of the split, if you would have put end of the split a TSM versus end of the split Cloud9, that I think we'd have a very competitive a best of five series with them. But I'm not sure who I would take in that matchup just because the TSM was that good at the end of last split.
Well, you have to remember, C9 with Meteos last year went 1-3 and nearly took it to Game 5 against TSM in the summer finals.
Yeah, it was already a close match. And then I like Contracts is a solid upgrade over Media, so I would say it goes to 5, and the winner is undetermined at this point. Or, well, it will always be undetermined, I guess, because they're never going to play that iteration of TSM. But
unless Doublets announces his new chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with Ian. Contracts definitely looks a lot better than Medios. I think he just seems to really synergize with the team and really just help them work towards getting objectives and really pushing them in fights and stuff. So it's really just fun to see him play. I like Contracts.
Yeah, Contracts is great. He's really something that Medios was prone to doing was tilting really hard in games. If he got ahead, he would be fine, but if he like messed something up or if a teammate didn't do something super well, he'd kind of tilt, and that does have a tendency to rub off on other people in the game. And so Contracts is like, we haven't really seen that from him. We've seen him get in, like he's become predictable a couple times and gotten invaded and punished for it, but he never really seemed to tilt. He just seemed to be like, okay, yeah, that was my bad, and just got right back up on his feet and kept going. So I think that Contracts is a very solid upgrade over Medios, and that in all aspects, honestly, I think he's just a really solid upgrade.
I wouldn't go as far as calling him an upgrade yet.
I would,
but he has a 21% first blood percentage, which is last among starting junglers. So it's not like he's out there like flying around outperforming every jungler either, because when it comes at least to matchups, he's actually not doing all that hot in matchups. But obviously it doesn't come down to just that, because that's only like 10-15 minutes of the game.
Well,
which is where C9 has looked kind of weak. Obviously, like you said, it's the low first blood percent, but later on is where they really start to shine in the team play aspect of it.
and also I think we've seen Contracts as a very farm-heavy jungler who will out-farm and punish your jungler for taking ganks, and just out-rotate you on the map, similar to the Season 3, Season 4 days of Meteos, but just playing different types of champs. So
I wouldn't even go that far either, because he's negative in both gold difference at 10 and XP difference at 10, which kind of means that he's getting out farmed in the jungle, at least early. But he has almost always been in the right spot at the right time, which is good, and he's actually doing pretty well in wards per minute.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Right now, like, he obviously looks really good right now, though, so I'm not worried at all by any means.
the 6-0 start is nothing to scoff about as rookie jungler.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I disagree with that, but yeah, Havokpus.
Yes. He is a rookie, but it's great to see that he is steadily improving. I hope we can keep chugging along and keep up the same level of play for the rest of the second half of the season, basically. But right now, we're going to focus on what happened last week with Cloud9 versus Envy. It was a pretty easy 2-0 matchup, nothing too super surprising, at least I would say.
So bad.
Envy, they beat Liquid, so I was kind of nervous because, like, well, they have their confidence up. So maybe they'll surprise us, but they really didn't surprise us at all.
Beating Liquid in their current iteration is like the equivalent of no, actually no, I'm not going to say that. That's
Up until they're losing, they're winning.
Yeah,
Team
there
Coast.
you go. There you go. That's a better way of saying it. Envy just looks like their early game is coherent and strong, because all the individual players are relatively talented. But as soon as it gets past 15 minutes, they have no idea what the hell they're trying to do, and they just completely fall apart, and it looks like a train wreck, which is the exact opposite of Cloud9.
Yeah, their decision making is kind of all over the place. Like sometimes they don't go for objectives, or they're just in places they shouldn't be. And a team like Cloud9, who's pretty experienced, pretty coordinated when it comes to fighting past the 15-20 minute mark, they ate them up for breakfast pretty quickly. I kind of want to keep the game discussion short because probably the biggest discussion is going to be Flyquest. But I do want to ask you guys, what did you think of contracts on Ivern? Because prior to this game, he's only been playing like Kha'Zix or Lee Sin, which had been like carry jungle picks. So now seeing him on like a supportive jungler, playing a supportive style, how do you think that worked? I personally think it actually worked really well, even though the early game was a little bit shaky. But Ivern's kind of bad at early game anyway. So what do you guys think?
I thought it was great. I really liked him picking Ivern because it showed to us that he's able to adapt to what is currently being played. And it shows that he's able to play more than just Kha'Zix and Rengar and have great success on it. One thing he did get, I believe it was when he was playing Ivern, was he got either invaded or he got like someone knew that he was going to try and do something. Lyra did. It was either in the Echo Fox game or the Envy game. I can't remember.
No, that was the Envy game because he was hiding in the bush and he was backing, but then he quit backing. And then Lyra was on Braves and he walked forward.
Very early game. He knew he was going to try and invade one of his buffs, and so he forewent one of the camps and waited at the buff to kill contracts.
I think that was the Graves game.
Yeah, that might have been.
Okay, yeah, that was what I was thinking of. So it's like he ended up getting really predictable and got punished for it. But other than that, I thought it looked really good. It was a solid pick. And
sucks that it's getting nerfed.
Yeah, Ivern is so frustrating to play against and to watch, though. It's like a tank, but not a tank.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree, but I don't think there's much else to be said about Cloud9 versus Envy, considering how quickly it went.
I just want one more thing. I just want to talk about the Ivern pick super well. I really like Ivern as a champion. I really like his design and his playstyle and such, but I thought that contract struggled a little bit early, and it might have just been his first time out and being jittery or something on Ivern, because he was down 32 CS at 15 minutes, which is, I guess you could chalk it up to how the jungle is built right now, but 32 is kind of a lot to be down. And I believe that was the game they got first blooded to by overstaying. But the main thing I noticed was he didn't mark two of his jungle camps on the first clear. Instead, he went straight to red buff, and he lost a bunch of time by not marking a camp inside his jungle before invading.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you can go.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I agree with that. It seemed like whatever practice he had on Ivern, it wasn't a lot. But, it should be fixable, sadly, since Ivern's getting nerfed. I don't know how many more patches they're going to be playing, or how many more weeks they're going to be playing on the same patch, but expect it to drop out of the meta, if not see a massive decrease because of the huge JC nerf.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I think another thing is that I think the casters were talking about it, where they kind of mentioned that Ivern's early game, in and of itself, is kind of weak, because if the enemy jungler and like another team member kind of shows up and kind of figures out whether you're pathing, they can kind of screw you over early on. And he's kind of slow with clearing anyway, because he has to wait for the marks to charge up and stuff. So that might be some of his discrepancies, I would say, in the early game. But I can also agree that he may not be as experienced on those champions as someone like Kha'Zix or Lee Sin. Because they're more high damage, they can kind of carry and have better early game than something like an Ivern that's very supportively built.
All right. Last thing. Then we can move on. All right. Contract's buff control was insane.
It was super sharp.
It might have been against Echo Fox, but I don't think they got a blue or red buff after maybe the first one until like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because Contracts was there immediately smiting it away. And it was awesome to see. And he did that against Echo Fox too. It might have been Echo Fox against Twisted Fate where he really went off on stealing buffs. So think of that as a transition to Echo Fox.
Yeah, I think the Echo Fox game is pretty interesting. One interesting point I do want to propose to you guys is during the draft phase, we did let Froggen get both of his pocket picks instead of banning them out, so we would get Jensen on a more standard matchup. We gave him the Anivia and the Twisted Fate. Did we do this because we had some kind of game plan going in, knowing that he would fall back to these really comfort picks, or did we have our eyes on more meta picks in the other roles to kind of choke those out?
I think. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, you can go. You go.
Sorry. I was just gonna say I think they really suspected it based off Froggen's previous experience with playing certain champs when he doesn't really know a meta, and with their lack of scrims. It seemed pretty likely that they would fall back on something like that. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say something along the same lines. It's just like it's at this point, Froggen's picked the Anivia and Twisted Fate enough so that you going in will probably assume he's going to pick one of those two champions if you leave them open. And Jensen is just good enough that he can deal with them. He doesn't have to worry about losing lane to Anivia. He doesn't have to worry about losing lane to Twisted Fate. And so it's like you don't have to worry when you're that good. You don't have to worry about dealing with the pocket pick. And so leaving them open just kind of makes sense so you can grab more meta OP picks.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen looked pretty comfortable facing both of those matchups. I think in team fights against the Anivia, there were a few times where we did disrespect the wall. And
Impact did get caught out.
Yeah, Impact did get caught out a little bit. But I think other than that, we played both of those matchups really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that C9 obviously came in with a game plan and executed it very well.
Frozen, any thoughts on Echo Fox? We probably don't have a lot to talk about since these were pretty simple 2-0 matches.
What I guess overall, I just wanted to say that I thought that we closed out games pretty well. That everything is really clean when it comes to closing out the games. Like we're really good about not overstaying. We're good about not starting Baron too early. But I would like to see us try and figure out a way to speed up the game a little bit, because a couple of these games this past week went a little too long. A little bit longer than I think that they should have, but I think that we did close out the games very, very well. So I don't have much else to add besides that.
Anyone else got any points to say?
No, I think that just about covers it.
All right then. Well, Cloud9 had a pretty dominant weekend against two lower tier teams, so that's kind of to be expected. But going into this week, this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we will be playing against Team Liquid. So TL is 2-4, and they're in a 4-way tie for 5th place, which is kind of interesting looking at the standings. What are you guys' impressions of Team Liquid? I think Golden Glue seems to be kind of a liability because you never know if he's going to do okay or he's just going to completely fall off the face of the earth.
Hey Ian, give us your Oriana rant.
Oh my fucking god!
Oh,
dude.
he has a rant? Yeah, give us the rant.
Oh, fuck! That game was so bad. Okay, so I can't remember if it was game 1 or game 2 of the Liquid series they played. last week. Golden Glue played Orianna on one of the games and had the single worst Orianna ult I've seen of all time.
Are you talking about the one where it goes back to him and it just hits nothing?
Yes.
Yeah.
His ball was on, and I still can't remember who it was. But he was trying to 2v1 the Olaf, and he went in to ult the Olaf as Orianna, and he for some reason decided to shield himself and then ult instead of just leaving the ball on the Olaf or whoever was attacking the Olaf, and it ended up completely whiffing, and it was like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, what the fuck? Just just put your ball on top of him and fucking press R. It's not hard. Oh my god, dude. Golden Glue looks so fucking bad right now. Jensen is going to teach him a lesson on how to play mid lane, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, I kind of been following Team Liquid just because this roster is really interesting. So you have Lorlo in the top lane, who came on from last season, who's actually, people have been saying he's actually kind of improved a bit. You have Rainover from Immortals, who just has not looked the same after, like, summer playoffs.
Without Rooney, he's been really underperforming.
Yeah. You have Golden Glue, who has kind of been the poster boy for Challenger, since he's been on a lot of Challenger teams but couldn't really upgrade up to the LCS till now. Then you have Piglet, who, I don't know, man, this might just not be his meta or what, but he's been getting out of position a lot, and he hasn't really been playing that super well. And you have Matt, who sometimes his shot calling is really good, and other times he just gets really discouraged about himself or something, and he just doesn't play well. So it's really just this hectic kind of inconsistent roster across the board.
I think that we need to start calling this thing that happens with this team the Liquid phenomenon.
The Liquid effect.
No, it's a phenomenon, because a phenomenon is a natural occurrence that has no logical explanation whatsoever. But it doesn't matter who you put on this team. You could take all the members of SKT from last year and put them on this team and just have it under the Liquid brand, and it would just fucking collapse. There is no iteration of Liquid since they switched over from Curse has looked good.
This might be just indicative of,
it's incredible.
This might just be indicative of, like, their structure and their coaching and everything. Maybe that's just the problem. They just have no real good structure or coaching or anything.
I don't agree that Liquid has never looked good in their span of being Liquid.
Oh, it's not that they haven't looked good. They haven't looked like they've never lived up to expectations, is what I should have said.
Well, you have to remember, they were the top team 2015 summer, and then 4th place.
Which is looking not up to expectations.
I mean, as far as everybody else is concerned, Liquid 4th place is about where everybody expects them to be.
If you come in number 1 in the split and then get 4th in playoffs, that's a failure. That happened to Immortals, and, like, that's considered a failure. If you're the number 1 team going into playoffs and you get 4th, like, that's straight up a failure.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm just saying Liquid as 4th has been very constant.
Is expected, yeah.
Yes.
It's the phenomenon, dude. No one knows why it happens. It just does.
This split, they're in an exceptional pile of shit, though. Like, I don't want to put it all on Golden Glue because he is, I'm not going to say a rookie, but, like, he's playing in a team where everyone around him has kind of collapsed, and he's obviously not a top tier, a mid laner at this point, so he can't carry 4 monkeys around with him. Maybe it just lacks a brain to function, but it just seems like overall they're kind of just a shit show, and it's not specifically anyone's fault, it's everyone's fault.
Yeah, if this team keeps playing like they are, it's going to be a very scrappy and unpleasant battle for who gets relegated between them, Envy, and Immortals.
Well,
maybe Dig.
Dig if they keep going down. I feel like they're one of the teams that
I'd hold on Dig.
They look like they could be good, though.
if you look at like the challenger teams, I'm sorry, but I don't think there might be 2 challenger teams that stand any chance. Personally.
There's a bunch of big names in Challenger, but I haven't been able to watch any of the matches
Yeah,
yet.
same here. I know Mad Life is on one team with like Santorin, I think.
Oh yeah, I
And-
saw that.
The mid laner from Schalke 04 is on a team too, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know Steve
is
is
it
on a
Fox?
challenger team in EU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good players.
Yeah, the 2 teams that I'm saying are going to be any threat to NA LCS teams, I believe, is going to be Tempo Storm and Goldcoin United. Goldcoin United is the team with Santorin, Phoenix, and Mad Life. And Tempo Storm is the team with Freeze, Quas, and Zentennial.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of Tempo Storm's games, and they actually look pretty solid. They have some good players, and Tempo Storm is an organization that has had a lot of experience in other esports. So it's not like they are unexperienced in managing an esports organization. So they, I'm expecting them to look pretty solid. Anyways, you can move
Yeah.
on.
Anyways, getting a little off track, but yeah, good points. I think if we were to even call the Team Liquid game, I think we'd all probably say 2-0.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask
pretty,
for
pretty
predictions, but I
unanimous.
think it's a 2-0.
But we're not here to talk about Team Liquid and that dumpster fire. We're gonna talk about Cloud9 versus Cloud9 White this Sunday, February 12th at 6 p.m. It's probably gonna be Cloud9's what?
I saw the best prediction for how this game is going to go down on the C9 subreddit earlier today.
Oh, what did it say?
Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, pull it up while I finish
yeah,
the,
you can
the
keep
intro
talking.
for
I'll
this
pull
match.
it up.
Okay, so this is probably going to be Cloud9's biggest challenge so far this season. Flyquest are tied with TSM for second at 5-1, and I think probably what's been the standout of Flyquest is just High doing what High has always done best and just shot call a scrappy team to victory. And I have to say it's really fun watching them because Moon has arisen and performed like how everyone was like expecting him to do when he came into the LCS. You know, Balls, Elimination, and Alltech are all performing probably at a little bit higher than expectations since they're not exactly top-rated players coming into this season. But High has just done what High has always done, and it's really interesting to see that they are in the standings where they are. I will say, taking this with a grain of salt, they all played fairly low-tier teams up until now. So it'll be really interesting how Cloud9 versus Cloud9 White.
Okay, so I have this comment pulled up here.
All right, lay it on us.
Thank you to the user Muddy Manuel for giving us this blessing of a paragraph. It says, after FlyQuest gets outdrafted, losing all 5 bans due to AFK and being 10k gold behind at 5 minutes into game 1, High calls out to the heavens. A hand reaches down and tickles his G-spot, giving him the power to bring back the game despite the circumstances. Impact stands up, throws down his headset, and says, fuck you, I power up to 69. He amplifies his power 69-fold and closes out both games. TLDR, C9 Blue, easy win 2-0. High also retires mid-game 2.
Well, hopefully.
Seems legit.
High's other lung pops, they bring in Link.
High's other lung
and
pops.
and his wrists too.
High's body just implodes.
Both.
It just can't handle the pressure of playing against Jensen and Sneaky. But seriously, what are you guys' thoughts on FlyQuest? I think our team and their team have really interesting pick and ban phases because both have been kind of a little unpredictable when it comes to how they draft the game, and I think that's kind of been a strength of both teams. So what do you think? How tough is it going to be? What's it going to look like?
So, I'm really excited to see how we're gonna play against FlyQuest, just because we've been more of a mid-game, a late-game oriented team, but Flyquest moves fast and takes all that they can get very quickly. Their average game time's the lowest. Their first blood percentage is the highest. They have the highest first tower rate and Baron rate. So High has obviously been a huge steroid in this team, allowing them to move a lot faster than any other team. So I'm curious to see how we're going to hold off against that, because it seems like a FlyQuest is going to move towards an objective immediately without any kind of hesitation at all.
If I'm being honest here, I think that, especially with what we've seen in our early game, if we are not extremely careful and we take some bad fights, we could easily get rolled over. And I think we have to kind of we have to put High in a situation to where he plays himself.
That's interesting. I kind of agree. Speaking of High, his champion pool has looked pretty good. He's played some really interesting picks. He's played things like Zed, which actually got buffed thanks to the lethality buffs, and I think he's one of the only mid laners, at least in North America, to actually pick up Zed, while everyone else is still kind of hovering around like Corki and Orianna and such. He's played Jace. I think he's played a few others. I can't really think of anything else that stand out besides those two, at least from last week. Do you think he's gonna kind of do this again and pick up these crazy surprise picks that we're not really gonna be expecting, since he seems to have a champion Ocean?
My thoughts on this are that, like, High, I feel like if he gets too overconfident and tries to pick something like Zed into a matchup just because he's like, oh, I can play this matchup and Zed seems like a good pick here, so I'll just pick him over a meta champion such as Corki, something along those lines, Orianna, Cassiopeia, Syndra. I feel like C9 has the potential to really punish that, especially since Zed is the kind of champion where if he gets behind, he does absolutely nothing. And that kind of transfers over to FlyQuest as a whole. As a team, they seem to be they play very cocky versus other teams, especially when they know that they can beat that team pretty easily. I want to say that they will take C9 seriously. It would be stupid not to, but they have shown that they're prone to being overconfident sometimes. And whether that is a result of High's shot calling just being like, this is what we're going to do, and everyone just follows it, and if it's a bad call, then it goes really wrong because everyone's there. But I feel like C9 can take advantage of that. If they see them starting to get cocky, they can be like, yeah, we can jump on this. But at the same time, if C9 falls behind, High is the type of player that if you give him an inch, he takes a mile. And so C9 has to be extremely, extremely careful how they play the early game, because if they fall behind, I feel like it's going to be a really, really slippery slope, them trying to climb back up. So that's kind of my thoughts on the matchup.
All right, sounds good. What do you guys think about the jungle matchup? Because I think this is something that also is going to be highlighted, because Moon has looked really good under High, and Contracts has been steadily improving as the, up and coming jungler for us. So, Trey, Frozen, what do you think on the jungle matchup? Should Contracts prevail, or is High's micromanaging going to overwhelm his own ability?
I'll let Frozen go first.
All right, so I think if you look at it on paper, like, Contracts has all the tools to be able to carry the game, but I like to go back to stats, and I think it's going to be a bit more complicated than just looking at it on paper, because Moon has a higher KDA, like noticeably higher. His first blood percentage is very, very, very high compared to Contracts, who has the lowest among starting junglers. His goal difference at 10 is plus 166, while Contracts is minus 775. His XP difference at 10 is 275, while Contracts is negative 82. He's doing more damage, but the only thing that Contracts has over him is in wards per minute. So, on paper, I don't know how it's gonna play out, and I think it's gonna come more about who can make a quicker move and set up a play around the map first, as opposed to who's a better jungler per se. And I think that having High playing at the Puppeteer might give a Moon an edge over Contracts.
I agree with that. I think Moon will win. If it was a one-on-one jungle matchup, Moon would win. I think Contracts will end up being stronger in this game, in this series specifically, because of where he can go. Top lane seems to be a big advantage in Cloud9's hands. Balls is a good top laner, and I believe he is very dangerous with the right
Balls
situation.
has not looked good this season.
I agree with that. But I think in the right situation, Balls has potential to be amazing. But Impact has been so solid, and Contracts can easily gank top. Alltech and Lemon, I don't know. I think Sneaky and Smoothie statistically are much stronger than them.
Yeah.
I think they pass on the eye test too. I think Sneaky and Smoothie have been overwhelmingly good in lane. Like, they're not giving up easy kills, and they're not losing CS battles either. And they're picking champions like Tarek, who gets wrecked in lane.
And on top of that, Dragon Control is going to be a big thing this game and this series. And I think if whichever bot lane wins is more than likely going to determine the outcome of the game if it lasts less than 40 minutes.
And actually, Cloud9 and Flyquest are second and third in Dragon Control percentage. Cloud9 has 63% and Flyquest has 60%. So they're right next to each other. But I think if there's any game that we're going to drop in this first half of the split, it is against Flyquest, just because they play so fast that maybe it'll move too fast for us. But I think that a lot of the NA macro right now is lacking, so a lot of teams haven't been able to punish some of the moves that Flyquest are making. And I think if anyone can do it, it's going to be a Reaper after a week of VOD reviews and practice. So,
well, the one thing I will say is just be cautious, because we have to play our game. We cannot go into the game and be reactive. We have to take our game to them and not let them just steamroll us.
Yeah. And I think we've been doing that more or less. I mean, in terms of how the mid to late game goes, at least, Smoothie's, like, when you listen to the comms, Smoothie's really good about directing the team and how to do fights and stuff. Everyone seems to be communicating really well, especially Impact. I think Impact has been really good at just, or at least improved in kind of communicating plays and everything. It'll definitely be interesting. I hope they don't underestimate it, but I think Reaper, in his coachingness, don't really know the right word, but Reaper so far has really, I think, proven to be a coach now. With the results that he's gotten, that through their hard work and the process that they've set up, we have the potential to pretty much beat almost anybody, at least in NA. So it's going to be a really good match. I'm really looking forward to it. I know you guys are. Any final thoughts on FlyQuest?
2-1.
2-1.
Yeah, 2-1.
I think 2-1 too.
Yeah, same. Not sure who will win it, but definitely will probably go 2-1.
Can we get win predictions just down the line?
Sure.
Like
Which
per
games
game
they're gonna win?
or
No, just 2-1 in favor of which team?
2-1 Cloud9.
Yeah, 2-1 C9. Flyquest wins the first one. C9 wins the second two.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Cloud9. We may drop game 2 just because there is that element of adaptation into it, but I think we can definitely 2-1 them.
This is tough, and I'm trying to take into account confirmation bias when I think about this.
Yeah. I mean, we are the Cloud9 fan cast
Yeah.
after all.
I feel like if I don't say 2-1 Cloud9, I'm going against my faith.
We ain't CLG. Get that weak shit out of here.
But I think 2-1 Cloud9 off of making game 3 a long, grueling game that comes to like the last fight at 50+ minute mark.
That seems pretty realistic to me, considering how both these teams have been playing. So, I'm down with that.
All right, just one more quick question. Do you guys think we'll see Ray this weekend on Friday?
I could see him playing against Team Liquid, considering how bad they've looked.
Yeah, I could see
against
them
against
for a game.
Flyquest. I could definitely just see Impact starting because we need to bring our A game, and
Against
Impact
Flyquest,
Impact
yeah,
has
no.
been bringing his A game every single week.
Well, I think Ray will not play this week. That's going off the knowledge of interviews where Impact said he just wants to win. The way that Reaper's been talking about, I don't think Ray has been doing super well in the scrims that he's had. So they might be putting him in like the back burner, trying to get him fed up on at least like map ideals, and Reaper kind of showing him what to do and getting his thoughts in between games. But I think he's kind of taken a step back in terms of a player, because the one series he did play in, he did not look good.
I mean, that is also kind of understandable. Ray is still kind of a new player, and he's definitely, he's going to have to work up, how the rest of the team sees the game and how to kind of synergize with everyone else. So that is somewhat understandable. So we'll have to see, I guess. I guess we should move on. A friendly reminder to our listeners out there: IEM Katowice is coming up in a couple of weeks. February 22nd through the 26th is League of Legends tournament, and then March 1st through the 5th is the CS:GO tournament. Both of our teams will be in attendance, so make sure you catch up on all that action. For LoL, it's a pretty exciting tournament. We have teams like HUK, UOL, Rox, Kongdu, M19, which was formerly Albus Nox Luna, EDG, and Flash Wolves will be there, and we will be playing them. So hopefully, this will probably be the first real test to see if this roster can probably perform internationally. Because we've been looking good domestically so far, but can we put up a fight against other regions?
On paper, we're the second best team there.
Yeah, because Rox has not been looking good, I think.
On paper, Liquid looks like a good team.
Oh shit.
On paper, Golden Glue. Make a choice.
Where are the air horns? We need the spicy air horns.
Bow, 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 bow. Maybe it might come down to a mental match of who can withstand the IEM production more.
Oh
my god.
That's definitely a possibility.
Icing the players.
Yeah, I think it will be a fun tournament, though. CSGO is also going to be there. They'll have some really storied names, too. They'll have SK Gaming, FaZe Clan, Fnatic, Optic, Ninja in Pajamas, Navi, and a few other teams. I'm really looking forward to it for both teams. You should be, too. We'll probably try to... Actually, we need to get in the habit of actually live tweeting our matches, because live tweeting is fun, and it also helps us grow our fan base and such.
Yeah, and we're not sure how we're going to do the podcast that week because Katowice starts on a Wednesday, I believe, or a Thursday. So we'll figure that out in the future.
We may do a possible special episode or
and
something.
we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know
They
next
pause
week.
LCS for it, so it's not like we're gonna have to do an episode for LCS that week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Also, just some other last-minute housekeeping business. We tried doing a other esports show. We've been working towards that and waiting for some results to come out so we could talk about it. It's gonna have to be delayed further, since we tried to do it in a similar format as this, where we kind of discuss matches and stuff. It didn't work out well at all. It was pretty much a train wreck. So we're gonna try some different stuffs. It was just really difficult because there's a lot of games that you need to talk about, in a mix of like limited understanding, as well as there just being a lot of games to juggle in general. And sometimes you can't talk about that as deep as you want to with like League of Legends. So we're gonna try some other stuff. Maybe make it more like a news-ish type show. But we'll keep you informed. We'll keep at it, because other esports is definitely just as big as the League of Legends stuff, and we don't want to let those fans out to dry.
Yeah, man, I gotta get my Vainglory fix.
For sure. Gotta talk about that. Talk about that Hearthstone Trinity series.
Hey, don't you be joking about Hearthstone.
Dude, there was a guy in the concert band I play in, and I was wearing my C9 hoodie, and he was like, "Oh, dude, C9, nice." I was like, "Yeah, dude, that's great." And he was like, "What teams do you watch?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I watch their league team mainly." He was like, "Yeah, I like to watch their Vainglory team." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that game." And he's like, "Yeah, they're like one of the best teams in the world at it." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's what's up."
Mobile MOBA is at its finest.
Yeah, I played that game once, and I was playing on an iPhone. It did not go well.
It's really hard on the iPhone. It's really optimized for iPad because the screen's like a lot bigger.
It seems hard.
I
Yeah,
remember
on phone it's
it just
impossible.
seems hard.
OGN was broadcasting that when it first came out, and like Monty was casting it. It was like Monty and someone else. It was either
It was
Monty,
and Doa.
yeah, okay, Monty and Doa were casting it. And like one dude was playing on an iPhone, and they were like, "How does this guy do this?"
Yeah, the
Like,
screen is
how-
way too small for.
How
for the
can you
game to
play
work.
this on an iPhone? But yeah, I digress.
Yeah. I guess this about wraps it up. I guess, should we go over our predictions again, just to kind of close out the episode before we move on to the moment of the week?
C930 rocks worlds. GG no re.
Alright, that's pretty good. Trey, you got anything? Any other predictions?
The Great Depression starts next week.
All right.
Oh, fuck.
It started a couple days
That's a good-
ago.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first.
Sell your stocks now. No.
Buy low, sell high.
I think C9 should do well this week, and really interested to see how our other teams are going to be doing, because CSGO played their first match in a while recently and they won. So hopefully our games go well.
Yeah,
Agreed.
hopefully so. Frozen, any final thoughts?
Nothing to add.
Do you have a moment of the week? We could kind of transition to that.
I can't really think of anything. Come back to me.
Okay. Well, my moment of the week is definitely the Super Bowl. That was super exciting. I liked all of it, especially the part where the Patriots came back and actually made it an exciting game instead of a blowout. So
You're in the minority on that one.
I'm in the minority, exactly. But
Dude.
yeah, Super Bowl was fun. I can't really think of anything else. There were a lot of sick plays over the weekend that Cloud9 made, but against bottom tier teams, I guess any play looks like a sick play. So that'll be mine. Trey, what about you?
My moment of the week is going to be awarded to Fly High for his Zed plays. This man,
He made some pretty dank Zed plays.
this man would not die. And if you watch, was a specific fight where he's about at like 500 health, I think, in top lane, and he escapes around. He pops his maul gets popped. He still lives. He gets a kill, and it's just unbelievable play. So that's my moment of the week.
All right, Ian, do you have a moment of the week?
I got all the plans worked out for an apartment next semester for college, which will be nice. I'll have my own place to myself. Won't have to worry about anyone else. So, guess that's pretty cool.
You also won't have to like sleep in your car or outside. You'll have a roof over your head.
Or in the
That's very
dorm that I
important.
currently live in.
Yes.
I've done all these things almost.
I might have another moment of the week.
Oh, okay.
I'm going first, in case it's mine. Shout out to my boy. He sang for his a Lulu Baron steal against Splice.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty sick.
Yeah, a Lulu's Gladiator Lance. I believe has 200 base damage, so he stole it with a level 1 or 2 or something. Gladiator
Dude,
Lance.
we call that one the Bloodwater.
And Trashy did not smite Baron. So
throwbacks to
that, and I'm going forward in time, I guess. I'm seeing my namesake in concert. Frozen Creek is a song by a band named Circus Survive, and I'm seeing them on Friday when this comes out.
Cool.
So I will not be
Nice.
watching Team Liquid. All right, Trey. Sorry.
No. My other moment of the week was receiving a letter from Harvard.
Oh wow, like to be accepted into Harvard?
Just a letter saying consider them, but still,
Oh, okay.
pretty nice moment.
Pretty good. I've heard
It's
good
better
things.
than a rejection.
I've heard good things about
Yes,
that
I've heard
school.
good things of this school called Harvard.
Oh, and also, okay, sorry. Oh, no, we need to end, but the Big Ten Network put out a video for League of Legends for the Big Ten League of Legends thing. They did a huge comparison of comparing it to basketball, and I think they're broadcasting some league matches live, and I think one of them is Michigan State. So
Oh, that'll be good.
hopefully Hai can send his thoughts and prayers to Michigan State so we can dick a Michigan in a League of Legends, since I don't want to talk about basketball.
Hey, you know what? The Mavericks are 20-30 right now. It's okay.
Sports.
All right, I think that's about
Yeah,
it.
I think that's it. I think that'll do us.
All right.
Good moments of the week, everybody. And good on the listener for staying in this long. So, thank you for listening to the 24th episode of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Feel free to tweet questions and feedback to @C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. Questions might be answered on the next episode, so get those in. We're also on iTunes. Just search Bodied in the iTunes store. We're like the second one, I guess. We're in there. Just search Bodied. You'll find it. That way you can keep up with us whenever we make a new episode. So